Joining us now on WEEI Afternoons, Patriots quarterback Drake Maye. Drake Maye on Patriots Monday on WEEI is brought to you by Northeast Men's Health, the experts in treating men's sexual health with 6 New England offices or at northeastmenshealth.com. So training camp is well underway. We got a preseason camp underway. Where are you at in the process right now?
Yeah, just trying to get better every day. I think that's what we're trying to do out here, and battle the heat and battle just bringing it every day and just challenge ourselves to get better.
So obviously the big talking point is Mike Vrabel's the head coach. Culture, different things like that. How would you describe what Mike Vrabel is trying to establish here in New England in terms of culture?
I think just intensity. I think just bringing it every day, leaving your ego at the door, and then from there bringing it onto the field and finishing through the whistle, doing the little things right. And I think that's just trying to help us on the field when the little things, details and technique, come into play. That's what he's trying to establish.
What's your role in that? Because I heard him this morning on our station say the quarterback can't take a day off. No matter what, he's the leader of the football team. So what is your role as sort of his top lieutenant?
Yeah, I think he hit it off the tee. Just bring it every day. No days off. When the team or the offense feels like you're kind of lagging around, it's my job to bring them up.
Does that come natural? Because we saw that clip with him telling you to celebrate, and is that something you need to work on, or how's that come for you?
Yeah, I think celebrating is different than kind of getting around the guys and leading them. So I think it's a little easier to celebrate when the games count, but it's also a good thing to practice. So from there, just around the guys and getting to know them first, and then being able to lead them in the right direction.
Rah is great, but we all know execution at quarterback is what really matters. Josh McDaniels, new offensive coordinator. He has a history here, I think a reputation in terms of a difficult system, but one that can be very good for the quarterback. How do you feel about that new system and where you are in learning it?
Yeah, I think just trying to attack it every day. He gets the guys in good spots, good plays. Just got to make sure that we don't, get us out of a bad play if it's a bad look. And then from there, just continue to throw the football. I got to give our guys a chance, and then from there, let them do the running.
Do you like it? I've heard him say one reason people say his system is hard is because it gives the quarterback the answers. It might take a little time for him to understand that, but it gives him the answers to what he's going to see. Do you like that so far?
Yeah, I think you love having the decisions to be on myself and knowing where guys are at and knowing where I'm sending guys, whether it's up front or at receiver. So, kind of the ball's in my court, and I think that's the best part about it.
So the other night, got some game action. There was a play, you mentioned it, Coach Vrabel mentioned it, the fumble that you'd probably like to have back, but sort of the totality of what you were able to put forth in a game setting over a couple drives. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, it felt good to get out there, kind of get the communication with Coach on the headset, get in and out of the huddle, really move the ball instead of out here in practice, just kind of having, line up and running plays. That's what we're challenging out here in practice, not to make it like that. We're trying to, establish, bring it every day in practice. But, I thought the fans showed out, what a night to celebrate, number 12. And then, we got to win. I thought all around, all 90 guys, however we got, played hard and they played well.
You mentioned the fans, and you just signed autographs for 15 minutes. Last week during joint practices, I think there was 14,000 people here. Why is it important for you guys to interact with the fans, sign autographs? I've seen even Coach Vrabel over taking pictures, signing autographs. What's the point of that sort of?
Yeah, I think my thought is just a chance to make somebody's day or make a little kid's day. Why not stay out here and spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes of signing, to make their day. That's my approach to it, and I think the guys done a good job of staying after and appreciating the fans, because the fans are what make it go in there. So it'll make it a tough environment, and the Patriots fans, they travel well on the road.
You referenced Tom Brady. He was in town. Did an interview on the sideline during the game. Obviously got the statue pregame. Do you feel any pressure of Tom Brady? Like, is there an aura, like a TB12 sort of hanging, especially now that there's literally a statue for the guy? Do you feel that at all?
Yeah, I wouldn't say pressure. I think it's just appreciation for what he did here, how he played the position, how he loved to win and wanted to win, and how they did win. I think that's the biggest part. And I think definitely just try to watch an old tape of him with some of the same concepts of how he did things is pretty cool, to watch. But for there, I wouldn't say pressure. Just trying to, I was drafted maybe 5 years after he left here, so I wouldn't say really any pressure.
On the field, you bring a different style. I mean, that's clear. You're not going to be compared to him physically. You have an athleticism. We saw you get into the end zone the other night. And Josh was actually referencing week plus ago when you had that sort of rollout long pass to Pop Douglas. And he said, he would never want to tell you not to make that throw because he'd regret it. Is there, though, a fine line between sort of that athlete, playmaker, gunslinger, and living to fight another play, that balance you might have to face?
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure. I think there's definitely, you got balance when to extend plays and try to, make plays with my feet or make plays on the run. By the end of the day, ball security and protecting the football is the number one thing.
You have a new number one wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, comes in the offseason. What's the early stages of that relationship like?
Yeah, I think he just adds a swagger in the room. He gets defenses on notice when he's in the game, and he helps the guys around him. And I think we got a good, strong room. Kind of keep building. Those guys are playing hard, practicing hard.
So from the outside, that group, fairly or not, gets a lot of focus, criticism. The wide receivers. What do you see from that competition and the guys you're going to go to battle with in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I think they're battling. You got 7-8 guys that bring it every day, and that whole room. Coach Todd's doing a great job of challenging them and having to be in the right spot, and having different plays, different concepts. They're learning them well, and asking me questions about winning in man coverage, and asking Coach McDaniels, who's a legend with it. So I think just keep on communication. That's the biggest thing, and I think how it plays out. The guys who keep on being in the right spot, making plays, and blocking in the run game will be out there.
I would never ask you if you're ahead of schedule, behind schedule in the process, but what is this part of the process like with one preseason game under your belt? You're going to Minnesota, a couple joint practices. The season is it's approaching pretty fast. Like, where are you in that process?
Yeah, I think just mastering and kind of getting a feel for and practicing. It's our first, full drive, 2-minute drill today. Didn't go the way we wanted. So, little things like that. I felt like, in the base run game, base pass game, I feel good with our concepts and what we do. So just continue to fine tune the situational plays, situational situations, 2-minute third down, different fronts, on third down. So that stuff is kind of what comes and what we're going to study throughout the week.
Similar question to the wide receiver group. You got a couple rookies potentially starting on the offensive line. We're in front of you the other night. As a quarterback, how do you build a relationship or a rapport with those guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, Jared was committed to North Carolina back in the day out of high school. He's from North Carolina, so I knew him back in high school. He flipped to Georgia, which I don't blame him. But, yeah, I think I knew him already, and me and Will, we're going through the same thing. Top 5 pick, coming to Boston from the South, different accent. I think that's just just going through it, and the spot Will's in is kind of the best thing for me and him to be able to relate and communicate and talk. And I think both those guys up front are put the work in, and are handling guys on our defense, our defensive line. They're getting a great look every day. So I'm proud of what those guys have done, and I think they're learning the NFL. You got to bring it every day in practice, because those guys aren't going to back off.
Time now for the quarterback question of the week, brought to you by Northeast Men's Health. And today's quarterback question of the week is, how is life different as a married second-year quarterback now that you're married and I guess a little bit more mature? How's that different?
Yeah. I think I'm 22. I wouldn't say much is different. I think the big thing is, got somebody, my best friend beside me. When I come home at night, and one of my biggest fans. So, other than that, she loves football, loves being out here to practice, and really than that, just try to grow up as fast as I can, but at the same time enjoy it. I think that's one of the best parts about being young. Enjoy it, and remember these days. And it's her birthday today, so shout out to my wife.
And finally, you mentioned she's your biggest supporter, though. Is she critical at all? Does she watch with a critical eye, or is it sort of just full support? Does she ever say, hey, what were you doing here? How's that go?
Yeah, no, she knows what she's watching.
So she's watched a lot of football.
Yeah, she's critical. Her dad played in college, and her brother is also a quarterback. So she's got, a lot of family football ties, and obviously with me. So she's watched a lot of me throwing, so she knows what's going on.
All right, that's Drake Maye here on WEEI Afternoons with our first Patriots Monday interview of the week. We'll be talking to Drake each and every Monday here on WEEI Afternoons. Thanks, Drake.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Matt.